Hi, everybody. Thank you all for joining. If you have any questions as we go through this webinar, please type them into the questions box on your screen, and we'll be sure to get those answered by the end. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to Alex Burns, who is the Vice President of P3 Propane Safety.
Thanks, Emma. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us today. As Emma said, my name is Alex, and I am the Vice President of P3. My main focus here is the development team. So anything new we're doing with P3, anything, not only new functionality, but just kind of talking with people, figuring out what's going to make this system sort of work better for you. So I'm always excited about situations like this where we get to talk about things that we spent a lot of time developing. And this is something, the bulk plant inspection has been out for about a year now. Really last March is when we first started getting our very first inspections in the system. And so we've made a lot of changes to the collection of the data, the reporting, the reviewing, all of that. And we're about to make some even bigger changes, which I'll kind of talk about towards the end of the webinar today, that we're also really excited about, and stuff that's really come from customer feedback, folks in the field that are using this system, and really trying to get people a way to use this system that is just much more user friendly for you and your day-to-day operations. So with that, I just wanted to introduce Rodney Williams, who's joined me today. He's the general manager at Jackson Propane Plus. They've got 4 locations they're all in Kentucky. So I'm gonna, Rodney, again, thank you for joining us, and maybe you could just give a quick introduction about yourself, a little bit about your history in the industry, as well as maybe a little bit about the company that you work for.
Thank you, ma'am. I'm Rodney Williams. I've worked for Jackson Propane for the last 13 years, and also 10 years with Furrow Gas. I was raised up in the propane business. It's like in our blood in the family, I guess you could say. Like she said earlier, we have 4 plants in southeastern Kentucky. We service 8,300 customers. We got 9 storage tanks, plants set up all across southeastern Kentucky that we utilize to do plant inspections with and stuff through P3. But that's pretty much what we do.
Okay, wonderful. That's great. So I think kind of based on that, I think what we'll do is we'll probably just jump right in here. I'll stop sharing this, and maybe we can maybe what I'll do is I'll pull up P3, and sorry, I'm having trouble with my mouse, which I apologize for. Sorry, I don't know why it's can't get it back to the screen that I'm Sorry, everybody. This is always a fun situation to be in. Okay. All right. So, Rodney, maybe you can tell me, since nobody else can speak up, can you see the P3 mobile dashboard now? Are you able to see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Sorry about that, everybody. So basically, for those of you that know P3 and know the mobile component of the system, this should be a very familiar view. This is what a technician is going to see when they log in. So what I wanted to show just here briefly, I think we'd like to focus a little bit more on the reporting, but just kind of wanted to start at the beginning. And so really, when you're entering an inspection through mobile, very simple, just come right in here. This is a test database of inspections. You'd see all of your existing bulk plants right here. You can select which location you want to inspect. You're going to get an overview of that bulk plant, just some of the basic information about the tanks and just the general facility. Is it a rail facility? Do you do resale sales out of there? Because those are going to ultimately modify some of the questions that are available on the form. So you get kind of an overview there, and then you can continue straight into the inspection, which here you can select if you're going to be doing a monthly inspection or an annual inspection. So you just make that selection, and then you continue, and that's going to bring you right into the inspection, itself. So what this does is it kind of, you can see down here on the right-hand side, all of the different sections of the inspections. And then you can go in and answer all of the question, each individual section. So basically, very simple question format. The answers to all the questions throughout the inspection are either yes, no, or NA, because bulk plants are unique and some may be different than others. So maybe the question is not applicable to that in that particular case. So just in one other thing that I think is important to point out with mobile, we just really try to keep the interface as simple as possible. And then also just because a lot of times, it's a very comprehensive inspection. There's a lot of questions. Sometimes people's level of knowledge on certain things, may vary. So as with all things in P3, you can always just click through on any of the question marks throughout the system. And this is our mobile professor that's going to tell you exactly what the intent is of that question. So in case there's any confusion. So we have that throughout. So just again, always trying to make sure that it's very clear for everybody. So I think, Rodney, it might be good for you to speak. I know you're not typically the one going out and doing the inspections yourself within your organization, but I feel like I think it's your plant supervisors are going out and doing this. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am. And then I approve them once they enter them into P3.
Okay, great. And so this has been a positive, experience for the folks in the field in terms of, I don't know what were you guys doing before as opposed to doing this system now? And maybe how has that kind of changed your process?
Before, it was just a standard old paper copy from Thermogas, for those that remember Thermogas out there. Been copied 1,600 zillion times. You couldn't even read what it said. This cleaned it up a lot. It made it a lot easier. One thing I've noticed is I've got the guys taking pictures so that I can look over what they're seeing, and helps me when I go to approve it, make sure nothing's wrong that they're missing.
Oh, great. Yeah, I think the photos, and I'll maybe on that note kind of flip, but you can always add right here, upload a photo if somebody's working on this project on a laptop or went around and took a bunch of pictures earlier, or you can just take a photo right as you're cruising through the inspection. So you can do that here, but I think with that, maybe we'll pop over to desktop and then look at, rather than going through and entering an entire inspection, kind of look at what some of the reporting is like for the inspections. So, oh, I'm gonna move this over and, okay, let me just, okay. So this right here is, this is a multi-location dashboard. So this is an example of Rodney's data right here. So basically when he logs in, this is where he comes into. This is the multi-location dash. You can see the multiple different types of reports that we drive here, but today we're obviously focused on the bulk plant. So we're going to click in here. This is, as we were talking about, Rodney's got, they've got 4 different locations and 6 bulk plants. So you can see them all outlaid here by location. You can also see that they've all got these nice circles and check marks, which means that there's all recent inspections. They've done all their monthlies. Everything's looking good. You'd see a little triangle with an exclamation point if anything was, if it was an expired inspection, if there was an issue at any one of the locations. So you can navigate the data this way by coming here to the map and going directly to the location. You can always drill in directly to the most recent inspection, or another way to look at the data is by going over here to this report. So this just kind of gives you a real general overview of exactly where each of the, where each of the plants are and what their status is, and if there's any follow-up required. So we'll just kind of talking about, as Rodney mentioned, how helpful the photo process is. This is again kind of an overview of one of their plants here. So you can see just you can kind of get in here pretty quickly and see any pictures that you just want associated with the plant that would be helpful. And then also, I think once we get into the inspection here, this is most recent inspection. And so I think, like you were saying, Rodney, this is what you're able to kind of come in and look at, broken down by section. You know, here's all the photos that, you know, that this plant supervisor decided to include. And you can also include any comments. So I don't know if there's anything you want to say about that, Rodney.
No, man, just it makes it a lot easier. Or even if they have a problem, say a pump or a valve's not working, I can always go back to that and look and see a recent picture of it and see if I see anything's wrong with it to help them correct the problem.
Yeah, great. And I think this is a great example.
Or try to get them headed in the right direction.
Oh, good. Yeah, right. Exactly. And I think this is a good example too, just looking specifically at this inspection that was completed. Because I think sometimes, you know, look, I end up looking at a lot of data from a lot of different places. And a lot of times folks are only putting, if they see a problem, they're putting photos in here. But this is, I think, a really good example of, you don't just have to show problem areas. You can, and this is a great way to call attention to that. But if there's stuff that you just, maybe even like you said, you aren't sure, or you just want to document, maybe even that when you were there on that day, this is what it looked like, and it looked good, you know. So I think that this is a very comprehensive inspection in that way, that really documents exactly what's going on at this plant on that day, and that's great. And then, so just to also kind of show a little bit further what basically, once you're back to kind of this main report here, back to this, I'll get back into the multi-location bulk plant report. And then this is a great thing that Rodney was saying. He's got himself and maybe, you know, maybe a couple other folks in the organization set up. You can have this, you can come here and you can access this report, or you can also email this report. So this is something you can set up to be recurring. If there's anybody within your organization that should be receiving these flash reports on some sort of regular basis, whether it's monthly or yearly or weekly or daily probably seems like a lot, but you know, whatever makes sense for you. So you can set it up to be really, you know, any time of day, week, whatever kind of works for your group. A lot of folks will set these up if they know that they have a 10 o'clock meeting every Monday. They'll send them out at 9 o'clock on Monday, so that everybody who's going to be in that meeting has a fresh copy of the report. So I don't know how you guys utilize it, Rodney, if it's more just a flash that goes out to folks, or what you really got, what you guys do with the report, if you have any thoughts on that.
On mine, when mine pops up on Monday morning, I go through it and look, anything that's starting to approach that 90-day or is in the 90-day, I call the local office, that local plant, and ask them, you know, why is this still out here and standing out, something that needs to be done to it and get it corrected. Not just leave something laying there like the old red tags just used to lay in a bin on the counter and lay there and lay there and lay there. Well, I know it now, so they have to get on it pretty quick.
Okay. Oh, good. That's great. So it's, yeah, nice too. I feel like sometimes to just have it delivered right to you, so you can kind of see it right away. And because again, like if anything, to your point, any of this kind of follow-up required, if there's follow-up here and it's not being taken care of, that stands out to you quickly if you've got numbers here. So that's going to be basically if the most recent inspection has any unresolved issues, or if the recent inspection has a status of priority follow-up, which I think you spoke to earlier, Rodney, when we were kind of catching up before this call today. And you were saying sometimes you see something in the pictures that maybe the person doing the inspection didn't necessarily notice problematic, but you're taking a look at those photos and you're seeing like, hey, I'm a little concerned about this. So you can write that up, put that on the dashboard, and then the folks on site can go out and confirm, you know, that, oh no, everything's fine there, or oh yeah, you're right, no, we need to do some maintenance to get that issue resolved.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. That's all right. Wonderful. Well, that's, I think, a great way to be able to use the system, and again, to be able to kind of track the issues that way. So here's another kind of, I'm going to go, I think we decided that Bonnieman was a good example. So I'm actually going to go in there. And so we kind of looked directly at the inspection before. This is a great way to look at, this is the plant specifically. So if there had been any, this was a plant inspection that Rodney came in and reviewed. So there really weren't any outstanding issues on this inspection. But if you did have any outstanding, if anything had been flagged during that inspection or during Rodney's review, that's going to show up right here. First thing right on the front page, so you can see exactly, usually photo of the issue, what section of the bulk plant report it was in, and then any sort of, exactly what the problem was and any comments that were written up about that. So that puts that all just really right front and center for you, so you can track these things as you go on through the month. But again, looking at Rodney's dashboard here and report, it is looking pretty good. So we do like to see all the check marks. So I don't know. I guess Rodney, is there anything else? Anything else with this? With this process, with the bulk plants that you think you're the one who's kind of out there experiencing this and using it, day to day or monthly. And is there anything else you think would be worth, anything that's been helpful to you that you think would be worth kind of letting everybody know about today?
Well, like for me, my farthest plant, for me to drive to it is 3 hours. This right here just gives me an easy way to look at the pictures and stuff when they put them on there. And they don't put them on there all the time. It's about every other month. They're getting better at it, but this is still relatively new to us, and we're learning. But it brings up a lot of stuff we can look at, and it makes us talk a lot more. We push really hard to train our drivers and stuff, and this is just another tool that we can help monitor what they're doing out in the field at these plants and if they're taking care of them the way they're supposed to be. We don't want to have no safety issues or anything like that, or anything that could go wrong. And this is just another level of inspection that we can look at to ensure that nothing does go wrong.
Oh, that's great. That's wonderful. Well, I think based on that, I think just as I mentioned on the front end, some changes that we're looking at from a development perspective. Right now, as it stands, because our inspection is fully, we've taken, as we often do, the guidance of PERC. And so basically it is the PERC bulk plant inspection. That's what we've done to date. And like I said earlier, it is a comprehensive inspection. So we're going to be making some changes to that. We're hoping that by the end of the summer, this is again something a lot of people have asked for. The monthly inspection it can be quite comprehensive for a monthly inspection for some folks. So what we're going to move towards and what we're really excited about, we've never done anything like this in P3 before, so it's going to be a big change. We've done a lot of legwork to kind of get ready to make the change. We're going to be giving you the ability to have the monthly bulk plant be more customizable. Basically, we'll give you the full suite of questions that you're already answering through all the annuals, and you'll be able to go in and kind of toggle on or toggle off any particular question that may or may, you may want to answer a lot of these questions on an annual basis when you're doing a full comprehensive inspection, but potentially on a monthly basis, you're not necessarily going to dig into all the details. But if you still want to answer all the questions on a monthly, that's great. But we're going to give folks the option to kind of pare down that monthly inspection and hopefully make that a little bit easier for everybody to flow through. So that is, again, something that, really came out of suggestions of folks that have been using the system in the field over the course of the last year. And it's really forced us to kind of look at some of our development a little bit differently than we have in the past. And so we're excited to kind of let everybody know that we're headed in that direction. And that is something that you should be expecting in the coming months. So a big change to the way that the bulk plant functionality works, but one that we're really excited about. So I don't know, with that, Emma, I don't know if have there been any questions that have popped up that maybe either Rodney or I could answer?
Not that I see, no.
Okay. All right. Well, great. Well, I think, yeah. And again, if anybody out there has any questions, you're thinking about stuff once you jump off today, don't hesitate to reach out. We're happy to, fill you in on any questions that you might have, or talk in more detail if there's anything that wasn't clear. But yeah, I thank you, Rodney, so much for joining us today. We really appreciate you taking the time, and I know it's always meaningful for everybody out there to hear the experience of another marketer, somebody who's actually putting this into play in the field. So thank you. We really appreciate it.
Well, we've been very, very impressed with P3. Our insurance company is impressed with you all. I can't say nothing bad about it.
Oh, wonderful. That's
It's made our stuff look a lot neater, a lot cleaner.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. That's wonderful. I'm glad to hear that. All right, great. Well, thanks, Rodney, and thanks for everybody out there. We appreciate it. Have a good day.
Thank
Bye.
you all.
Thank you, ma'am.